What's going on, everybody? John with Bull-Throttle Trading here. Today, just another video going over a few stocks that have earnings coming out tomorrow before the market opens. So I'm just kind of going to run through some of these real quick and break them down for you guys and help you guys, like I said, usually just to give you something to put in your watch list if you guys are looking for something to invest in or even use as a day trade. So I'm going to break these down, and I'm trying to remember to keep in mind that I'm explaining for both day traders and swing traders for each of these stocks. So I'm trying to get better at doing that. So let me know if there's anything else that you guys want me to talk about when I break these stocks down. I'm kind of keeping it minimal just so that I can try to get through these kind of fast. But please feel free to leave, a message in the comments if there's anything in particular that you guys want to see in these videos, and I'll try to keep them going and make sure I'm explaining everything so that you guys understand it. All right, and with that, let's get started. All right. All right, the first one I have, it's actually not the first one on my list, but I have it open right now, so we're just going to talk about it. This is Dollar Tree, so DLTR, and they have earnings coming out tomorrow. Now, what I like about this is a pretty nice horizontal pattern, right? We definitely had some dips down here, and this was, again, around the coronavirus. So it did a good job at bouncing back, right? Dollar Tree and a couple other companies, honestly, did a very good job at, I know Dollar Tree probably sells a lot of cleaning products and stuff like that, and necessities, batteries, things like that. So they did a good job at holding up, right? So we could probably expect that they're going to have a pretty positive earnings statement coming out. But looking at the RSI, looking at the MACD, we're in that overbought territory, right? And we can kind of, I'm going to try to make this like an average line here, right? So I want to get this horizontal pattern kind of displayed to you guys, right? So you can see that we kind of have this is what I mean when I say horizontal pattern. So we're kind of trading in here up and down, and honestly there's definitely a resistance right here as well, right? So we've kind of broken the pattern by breaking above this resistance, right? So the thing I want you guys to pay attention to is, again, yes, it's overbought, and there is an earnings statement coming out tomorrow, which we can probably expect based on how it's been performing, that it'll probably be a decent earnings report. So looking at that, I want you guys to see what I see here. So we have this previous resistance here, right? And we're approaching that resistance. So do you think that this would be a good time to buy? Me personally, and I'm not here to tell anybody what to do, but me personally, I would not want to buy in on a swing trade for this. What I would like to do is I'm going to set an alert. I'll set one at the SMA line, and I'm going to set this for below, so I want to see when it gets below the SMA line. And then I'm also going to set another alert down here when it's approaching this support that we have, because if I'm going to buy into this to hold, I want to buy it when it's at this support, right? And just so you guys know, if I get an alert that it gets off here, that doesn't mean that I'm going to buy it yet, right? I'm going to start watching it and see if we confirm that we're bouncing on this support again. And I want to catch it when it's showing me that it's going back up, right? Because when it pulls back, it could continue to keep going below here, just as it did here, right? And that's why we want to wait for confirmation. And same thing again. So if this earnings statement comes out tomorrow and we break above this previous resistance here, then it might be a good time to take another position, more so on the day trading. And the reason why I say that is because you have a potential margin for about 6.2%. If we break above this resistance point, That was the last resistance point that we had above it. So we can expect that something's probably, going to slow down at this point if we break above this one. So that's, again, why we want to wait for confirmation. But again, this is just why I see value in this, and this is why I'm paying attention to it, that if this goes above this resistance because of this earnings tomorrow, then that would be a good entrance point. I wouldn't want to enter it, though, until it either pulls back or we get above this resistance, right? And now we can start to get higher highs and continue this bullish run. All right, the next one that I have on my list is Dollar General. And this is a little bit different than Dollar Tree. You could see here we kind of had this resistance and this support before coronavirus, right? So we had a horizontal pattern going, and same thing, Dollar General blew back above this previous resistance level, right? So now we have this new support level, right? So old resistances become new supports. So we pushed up, and we've had a new horizontal pattern trying to identify itself, right? So we could see that we have this support here, and then we kind of hit it again there. So we have this newer support level, and then we have this resistance level right here, which again, we can see that we're kind of at the same resistance level, or we're approaching these highs, right? So this is another one that we want to pay attention to. It's on the overbought side, but again, that doesn't mean that this can't push up. But it's the same kind of a story. If we get above this 186.50, then now we're starting this new trend, and that could be a good potential buy-in period, right? If it doesn't hit or break above this high and it starts to pull back, then again, I'm going to want to start paying attention down around this support. So I'll probably set an alert right here, right? And I'm setting these when they're lower because I know that this will be further into the future. I'm not setting alerts if it goes above because I'm just going to monitor these tomorrow. I've added all of these to my watch list here, right? So tomorrow I'm going to watch it and see what it does, and then if I feel an opportunity is presenting itself, then I'll get in it. But I don't really need to set an alert above here because I will be watching it for that, right? All right. So the next one we have is NIO. And NIO has been very bullish, right? And again, we're on the overbought side. So this is a situation where you want to be very, very careful at managing your risk. So, all right, this is a smaller cap stock. We could see that we're around $4. We had these lows down here of about $2.20. Now we could clearly see that the coronavirus helped push these guys up, right? They didn't really get a pullback like a lot of these stocks that we saw. Looking at this SMA line, right, we're starting to get this upward momentum going again, right? However, as I said, it is overbought. So this might be something that you might even want to look further back. So looking at the 1 year chart, we can see this looks a little bit differently now, right? So these last three earnings statements were negative. And even though this was negative, we could see that it did a good job pushing up. This one was negative, but it was an increase from this one. Pushed up. And then we had another pullback, and we're continuing this motion now, right? So looking at the 6 month versus the 1 year, we kind of have a little bit more of an idea of where this could move, right? So yes, it's on the overbought side, but it's only at 63, right? So we're not even over 70 yet, which means that we have room to move. And if we look, all right, our last resistance was right here around, what is this, $5.17. So from where we're at now, that's offering a potential margin of 26, well, let's call it 27%. 27% margin, right? So even though this is overbought, this is one that we want to do our part in keeping an eye on it and managing our risk, right? We just want to, don't just jump in just yet. As again, it's on the overbought side. That doesn't mean that it won't continue to push up, but let's wait for that confirmation. All right, next one we have ERJ. This is Embrower. I'm guessing. I'm not super familiar with this company. Big pull off here, and it's continuing to. It's consolidating. We kind of have a high point here. See, so we've kind of same thing. We've approached this previous resistance. We're overbought. Our SMA line on this one is still pointing downward, right? So if this was to continue, if we drew an arrow on the end of this, it would still be pointing downward. So this one isn't necessarily one that I'm going to be paying too much attention to. But I wanted to include this in this video because, as again, it does have an earnings statement coming out tomorrow. All right. Next we have Red Hill Biopharmas. What I like about this one is, again, we have a nice horizontal pattern here, right? So we have this support level right here. And then I'm just going to go with our previous resistance level, which is right here, okay? So from where we're trading at, where are we at? 702. So we're about right here, right? So we have a potential of loss of 7.3% and a potential of margin of about 15%, right? So the ratio on this of risk to reward is more in our favor, right? And we can assume that, again, and this is what I say when I mean having a plan, that if we were to take a position in this, that we'd probably want to sell around here, right? And as I said, that's about a 14% increase, which is a nice swing trade, right? I mean, possibly, you know, depending on this earnings statement, there could be day trading opportunities on this as well. But we're kind of seeing that we bounced, right? We have this candlestick here that we hit this previous support, and then it did a good job of pulling back up above. We're still below the EMA line. Our SMA line is in an upward movement. So this is why I'm paying attention to this, and it's also on the oversold side. The reason why I wouldn't take a position in this just yet is looking at the MACD. We're still showing momentum downward, right? So I'd want to wait for a little bit more confirmation before I take a position in this. But this is one that I will be watching very, very closely. This one has a lot of opportunity. And again, we see this pattern that it's established. And patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't always have to, which is why we need to do a good job at managing our risk. But this does offer potential. And we can see our plan. We can see, even if we were to enter right around now at 705, we can set a stop loss at, you know, maybe this middle VWAP line, right? And that could be our potential for loss, which is about 2%. And like I said, we have a potential margin of gain for 14%. So that to me is a good ratio. That's about 1 to 7. As long as we're at like 1 to 5, I'm happy, right? So if you set your stop loss here and do a good job at managing your risk, right? Pay attention what it's doing and know that we have you know, a possible exit strategy. And this is important. This is why it's important to have these exit strategies. So we know where we can sell. Honestly, I'd probably be paying attention right around here at about 772. So, I mean, that's cutting into our margin a little bit, but it's a little bit nearer of a resistance. So we have about 8.5% potential margin, which is still a pretty good opportunity, right? So again, let's do our part at managing our risk, having a plan, sticking to our plan. Okay, next we have Columbus McKinnon. And the reason why I've included this on this list, again, we have earnings. It's on the overbought side, right? Oh, it looks like their earnings already came out. Oh, yeah, these were today before market open. All right, well, then I'm just going to keep moving on. My apologies. All right, and next we have Town Square. So they have an earnings conference call. No, they already had it today. So this is another one. I guess I apologize for that. That was my mistake. All right, so not including these two, we went through these ones though. So I hope that you guys kind of got an idea. You know, do your part at setting your alerts, right? You saw how I set some of these alerts on these. You know, we want to wait for those opportunities to present themselves. We don't want to chase trades, right? Forcing trades is never a good plan. I personally have seen more days in the red by trying to force trades than waiting for these opportunities. And this is why we set these alerts. So when you start adding these to your watch list and you have more of these alerts set, well, then you're going to start getting more of these alerts, you know, throughout the days or throughout the week, so that now you're going to present those opportunities to you. Let them come to you, and then, you know, make your decision. I hope that, again, that this brought you guys some good ideas of where to look and some value in helping you guys grow your accounts. Please feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. As I said earlier in this video as well, if you guys, again, have anything that you want me to explain in detail on these videos, or maybe there's a certain stock in particular that you guys want me to go through and evaluate, just leave that in the comment section and I'll be sure to add that into one of my next videos. And from there, I'm going to say I hope you guys all end it in the green and have a good one, and I'll see you tomorrow.